Welcome back to the channel, everybody. The case I have for you guys today is absolutely unbelievable. This is the case of a woman who hit a man with her car so badly he got stuck in her windshield. And what she did next is going to leave you speechless. This case takes place in Fort Worth, Texas, and revolves around the 25-year-old nurse, Chante Mallard. Throughout her life, Chante was known to be in and out of trouble and was just kind of finding her way along. I'm 25 myself, so I'm kind of in the same place, but definitely not in the spot where I'm going to be hitting other people with my car and making a run for it. But hey, nobody's perfect. Chante had grown close with some of her friends from work and really enjoyed the nightlife that Fort Worth had to offer. Through work and friends, Chante was finally starting to feel a little bit of stability in her life. One night, there was a party across town that Chante got invited to. Like many people in their 20s, she jumped at the opportunity to go have some fun with her friends. So Chante happily agreed and showed up to the party ready for anything. Over the next few hours, Chante drank, did drugs, and just had a blast. As the night grew older, Chante was ready to leave, but it turns out she didn't have a designated driver. Well, technically she did have a designated driver, but I guess you could say she just designated herself drunk to drive herself home, I guess. Chante was a little challenged in the common sense department and got in her car and started driving home. Now, Chante felt the effects of the drugs and alcohol in her system bad. I can barely walk when I drink, so imagining someone driving a car while drunk just doesn't even register as a possibility in my head. So Chante's driving home extremely intoxicated, not a care in the world. A few minutes into her drive, Chante hits a homeless man. This man's name was Gregory Biggs, and he was just on the wrong end of a few bad decisions and found himself homeless. In a bad stroke of luck, Gregory found himself in the way of Chante as she was driving drunk. Now, this wasn't just like a little accident where she bumped into Gregory and he fell over. No, it was bad. The hit on Gregory was so bad, he actually got lodged in the windshield of Chante's car. So Chante's windshield is just completely shattered. There is literally a man stuck in her windshield. And you know what Chante does? Chante's like, oh, that's not my problem. And she gets back in her car and continues driving home. Now, it's not like she was almost home or she was down the street. She drove with Gregory stuck in her windshield for over half an hour. When Chante finally arrived home, I don't know how, but her car was still in one piece. She opened her garage, put her car inside, and closed it before anybody could see what was going on. Now, the crazy part, not only did Gregory survive the hit, he was still stuck in her windshield when she parked her car in her garage. And remember, Chante's a nurse. She's literally trained in taking care of people. Did this mean she was going to help Gregory, who was literally about to die? No. Chante had another idea. Chante left Gregory in the windshield and closed the garage door as she went into her house. Multiple times throughout the night, Chante was back and forth checking on Gregory to see if he was still alive. Every single time she came out to check on him, Gregory begged for his life, pleaded to Chante for some sort of help. And every single time, Chante did not care. By the time morning came, unfortunately, Gregory had passed away. You're probably thinking, okay, now this is the part where Chante calls the police, calls an ambulance to help this man, right? You're wrong. Why would you think that? Chante comes up with the idea that she needs to get rid of Gregory's body and all the evidence that was left behind. So Chante calls a few friends over, which if somebody called me and were like, hey, I have a dead body and I need help moving it, I don't know. How does your friend call you up, ask you to move a dead body, and you're just like, okay, I'm on my way? Like, I don't understand. So Chante's friends were more than willing to help out, and they helped her take Gregory's body out of the windshield. They then loaded him up in another car and just dumped his body at a nearby park. Now you're probably thinking, oh, well, Chante needs a car to work, right? She's probably going to go get it fixed at a mechanic shop? No. You're not allowed to use common sense here. That's not a thing. Chante takes her car and sets it on fire to try to destroy the evidence that was left behind. So 4 months pass in between the time of the crime and the time of another party that Chante attended. Keep in mind, 4 months pass, Chante hadn't said a word about it to anybody, and nobody suspected her to be connected to Gregory in any way. So then at this party that Chante attended, she came up with the bright idea to brag and make jokes about the man that she hit with her car. I genuinely cannot make this up. This is actually what Chante did. Thankfully, someone at the party that overheard her decided maybe I should use my common sense and report this to the police, and believe it or not, that's what they did. The police had already been investigating the death of Gregory, and Chante was the missing piece to the puzzle. There were tire marks, DNA evidence, and witnesses that tied Chante to the crime. A few weeks later, Chante was finally arrested for the murder of Gregory. So during her legal battle, Chante's defense tried to paint this picture that she was just a girl who was under the influence of drugs and alcohol and didn't know what she was doing. The prosecution, however, saw right through their story. They pointed out that everything Chante did that night was deliberate and calculated. After a short deliberation by the jury, they returned a guilty verdict. Chante was found guilty of murder and tampering with evidence and was sentenced to 60 years in prison. Thank you guys for watching today's video. Please like the video, drop a comment, and subscribe if you found today's episode to be interesting. I'll see you guys in the next video.